Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on the video. This one is going to be a little different than the usual videos I do on the community creations and different universe mode setups. In this video, I'm going to be using gameplay from 2K23 to see which superstar would have the best rivalry for current World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Now some of you might disagree with the final verdict in the video, but I still think it's something that you would want to see yourselves. So let's get right into it with our first match, where we have Damien Priest going against Seth Rollins. After Damien Priest's recent matches at Backlash against Bad Bunny and being the first person to go for the title against Seth Rollins on Raw, I felt it was only necessary to have him at the top of the list. Just over the past year of Damien Priest's time in the Judgment Day, we have seen Rhea Ripley and Dominic skyrocket to the top heels of the business, and Finn Balor became the so-called leader of the Judgment Day. Though I do believe that Damien Priest is the most talented amongst the Judgment Day and does deserve to have a true main event push. The last time we saw Damien Priest a WWE champion was when he was the US champion, in which he lost it to none other than Finn Balor. Damien Priest's in-ring ability is unquestionable at this point. And now, since we are seeing his mic skills, I think he's the perfect heel for the WWE. He can absolutely shoot a promo and not only make you dislike him, but actually make you believe in why you should dislike him. Cutting back to the match here, this one was actually only the second longest match that I went through. Though it was a typical back and forth match, there were many points where I actually stopped dodging just to see the moves that Damien Priest would do in the game, while at the same time envisioning the moves that we see every week on Raw. I'll even go as far to say, with Damien Priest all black and purple attire, it does remind me of old school Undertaker. Now obviously you can say, how can I say that? But there are similarities that we both can't deny. Now, growing up an Undertaker fan may be the reason why I'm fanboying out over Damien Priest, but if I were to just say that, would mean that I could possibly be diminishing his career since I can compare him to another, and that would not be fair. Since this video is being made after we have already seen a real match between Seth Rollins and Damien Priest, it's easy for me to say that I think these two should have a rivalry, just like a Brock versus Roman or a Cena versus Orton. And that isn't to say Rollins wouldn't have a great rivalry with other superstars, but to say a rivalry between Priest and Rollins has the most potential to be bigger than the two other rivalries that I have just named. Both of their proven abilities in the ring and on the mic would have us glued onto our screens, anxiously anticipating their matches whenever and wherever they happened. On one hand, you would have Seth Rollins going up against the now most dominant faction in the WWE, and you would have one member of that faction clawing his way to the top of the WWE Raw roster, while not being the top heel of his own faction. With this scenario, either direction would be exciting to watch. I have to say, the WWE is in a great position with the abundance of heels right now. It means that there are less superstars who the fans don't pay attention to. The wrestling business in general is made because of heels. And I think we are seeing a new golden era because of superstars like Damien Priest. With all of that being said, I am not using real life to determine who should be the one to be Seth Rollins' top rival during his reign as WWE Champion. I am using 2K23 to figure that out. As we approach the end of this match, I am pleased to say that the bar is set. This match did show me, just like in real life, that a rivalry between Seth Rollins and Damien Priest would be very fun to watch as a fan of the WWE. Moving on to match number 2, we have Seth Rollins against Finn Balor. Now you can say that this is the obvious choice on who should be Seth's top rival as WWE Champion, since they already have their own rivalry currently going on. But I feel that we shouldn't just close the books on other superstars just because of that. Finn Balor has proven his capabilities to us as fans and the WWE itself that he does deserve to be a top guy, since he was the first ever WWE Universal Champion. but due to injury, he had to relinquish the title. Fortunately for us as fans, his return from injury showed that he has not lost a step. In fact, I don't think I would be wrong to say that he got better. Since joining the Judgment Day, Finn Balor opened up a whole new door to showcase the range he has as a performer. There is a reason as to why he is not only a member of the top faction in the WWE, but why he is now looking as the top rival for Seth Rollins' title reign. I personally can't think of the last time Finn Balor hasn't put on an A+ match. Even with his WrestleMania 39 match against Edge in a Hell in a Cell, we were all wondering what colors the Demon would be representing in the match. I remember going to Community Creations and downloading different versions of it because I just could not wait to see it. Attire aside, if Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins is the rivalry that the WWE wants to give us, I will not complain whatsoever. With Money in the Bank approaching, not only can I say that I am looking forward to this match the most, but I do think that it could be one of the best matches we have seen in the last few years. Unfortunately, my opinion in this rivalry was not shared with by WWE2K23, as I was able to defeat Finn Balor in a shorter time than the others. If 2K were to decide the rivalry for Seth Rollins, Finn Balor would not be it. Quickly moving on to our third match of the video, we have The Miz going against Seth Rollins. I can positively say that this was the most annoying match. I definitely did not expect this one to be the longest match, but I guess that was my mistake. Regardless, I wanted to include Miz into this not only because of their most recent match before Seth Rollins won the World Heavyweight title, but because Miz can put over anyone no matter who he is facing. And that's not to say Seth Rollins needed to be put over. I'm just highlighting the great skills that Miz does have. The Miz has been one of the best on-mic personalities of the past 2 decades, by far, so you know that these two would have great promos every week. Unfortunately, Miz is a few years older than Seth Rollins, and even though we have seen superstars in their late 40s and early 50s still put on great matches, if you were to put Miz in a rivalry with Seth Rollins, it would have to be within the next couple years. Because if you wait any longer, you may have a scenario in which we had Undertaker versus Goldberg. Sorry to remind you, but these things do happen. As much as it is his job to make you dislike him, it is so difficult not to. If he wins, so to say, then we get another fun heel. But if he loses, then we get to enjoy watching him lose. And I mean, let's be honest, what more can you ask for? The Miz is like that one friend you have where other people don't like him because they think he's an A-lister, but every time you're with him, it's nothing short of having a great time. You may not agree that The Miz should be the rivalry, and you might also think that he shouldn't even be in the running, but me personally, I think that The Miz and Seth Rollins would not only have the most fun rivalry to watch, but more importantly, the most entertaining to watch. Cutting to the commentary of the match here, every time I would go for a grapple, Miz reversed it, no problem. Every time I tried to land a strike, Miz reversed it, no problem. Any chance that I had to throw him outside of the ring just so I can start taunting and get some health back, he got right back up and put an end to that. It got to the point where I felt that the only shot I really had to win this match was to knock out the ref and hit him with the chair. And then I saw that it is a woman ref, and now I have no hope. But quickly, I was able to start landing some grapples on him while also slowly charging up my special and my finisher. I knew that I had to land a finisher and land it quick, just to try to even out the beatdown that I was receiving. Now I knew this pin after the stomp wouldn't win me the match, but it was now or never. Annoyance aside, I was happy overall with the match itself. Even on the hardest difficulty, some matches do end up being too boring, and this one was far from it. These are the matches that make it so you keep replaying the game. We do finally get the 3 count and the victory here against The Miz. This match was right on par with the Damien Priest match in the beginning of the video. but 2K seems to disagree with the lower score. Now we move on to our fourth match here, where we have Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Now we all know the recent scorecard for these two is 3-0 in favor of Cody Rhodes. Both are backed by the fans, and both are considered to be at least top 5 babyfaces in the entire company. Last year when they did have their rivalry, there was a clear face and heel. Seth was more the heel and Cody Rhodes obviously the face. I do not think that these two need to have a rivalry anytime soon, only because Seth Rollins should ride this current train with the fans chanting for a while yet. You probably disagree, or you might think that it shouldn't matter and both can be babyfaces in the rivalry. And you wouldn't be wrong, but at the same time, every great rivalry, there is a clear opposite between the two. If Seth Rollins' top rivalry as World Heavyweight Champion is with Cody Rhodes, then this kind of can turn into a Brock Lesnar versus John Cena rivalry after Brock Lesnar's return. Now with that specific rivalry, tossing face and heel aside, it was clear that the younger generations rooted for John Cena, while the older generation rooted for Brock Lesnar. And if you did compare that rivalry with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, it's definitely clear who would be who. Cody Rhodes definitely has the support of the younger generation, while Seth Rollins absolutely has the support of the older generation. Now that doesn't mean at all that the same story would have to be told, nor would it need to have the same end result. All I'm saying is, the Cena versus Lesnar rivalry isn't as well recognized as Brock versus Roman or Cena versus Orton, where it was clear cut who was who. And again, this is only my take from it all. Cody Rhodes definitely has a lot of fans in the WWE right now, and a lot of people do think that he was snubbed at WrestleMania. I am not one of them, but after all, it is my opinion, and this video we are taking the gameplay from 2K23 to determine who would be and should be Seth's top rival as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Speaking of which, this match was pretty basic in every aspect. Nothing really stood out, and it kind of felt like I was just doing it to make the time go by versus actually wanting to play it. Looking back on it now, I could have definitely switched up the match types, but since I wasn't doing it for the others, it wouldn't be fair to do it this one just because. I feel I had as much fun with this match as if I would have just pressed simulate. Now I'm sure there's at least one of you watching who thinks I'm crazy for saying that, but I don't find myself using Cody Rhodes all that much in the game. Being said, I knew I still had to include Cody Rhodes in this video because of his status in the WWE right now. In real life, he is much more entertaining than the game, but since this game is the closest I'll ever get to stepping and performing inside of a squared circle, I'm gonna have to take the game's word for it. And we are finally here at the final match of the video, where Gunther will now be facing Seth Rollins. To say that Gunther, as well as Imperium's run on the main roster, has been successful, I think would be an understatement. What Imperium is able to do is exactly what groups like the Un-Americans and Law Resistance were not able to do. With Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci at Gunther's side, all three current or former champions, regardless of which brand it was, is a recipe for success when they are all very talented, but most importantly, their chemistry is perfected. I would like to even mention that Imperium's entrance is probably one of my favorites, definitely top 5. Getting back to just Gunther, we have seen how capable he is of controlling a match despite who is in the ring with him or how many others are in the ring with him. If you do go back and rewatch the WrestleMania triple threat match between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, pay attention to Gunther himself, and you will truly see why he is on his way to becoming the top heel in the WWE. When Gunther was called up to the main roster, I did think that his ceiling was William Regal. You win some matches, you lose some matches, you fought dirty, people liked you, most people didn't. But as of today, I can admit how wrong I was, and I do deserve a nice chop for that. And I can also say how happy I am that I was wrong, because what we're seeing with Gunther and Imperium, and what I think their true ceiling is that it is going to untap a storyline that the WWE failed to create with other factions, which means that the potential for a rivalry between Gunther and Seth Rollins could eclipse any rivalry we have seen in the WWE given the proper storytelling. Now, I know what I just said might come off as blasphemous or ludicrous, but I don't think my opinion is wrong on this one. With Stone Cold and Vince McMahon's rivalry already in the books as the greatest of all time, you could say that my statement couldn't be further from the truth. But, need I remind you, there's always a bigger fish. Now, what I mean by that is, given proper storytelling, as we are seeing with the Bloodline, can you imagine any other superstars in those roles? Of course not. Storytelling is storytelling. But you would have never seen Rey Mysterio beating Hulk Hogan in the 80s, no matter what the story was. At the end of the day, it is about timing, as well as having the perfect superstars in the perfect circumstances. Gunther and Imperium are lightning in a bottle, while Seth Rollins is also lightning in a bottle. Moving back here to the gameplay, I knew that giving Gunther both Kaiser and Vinci in his corner would just make it so much more difficult to beat him, given how in 2K23 the managers are so annoying, and when they distract you, it does nothing but give free shots against you. Fair enough. I must say that this match definitely had me on the edge of my seat, because I knew if I made one mistake, didn't dodge one strike, I knew that there was no coming back. And is exactly what happened. Gunther was the only one to beat me. It was well deserved, it was a fun match, and I think that 2K kinda got this one right. I do believe that Gunther should be the one to, even with the Intercontinental title, should be the one to rival Seth freaking Rollins. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys thought of the video itself. Let me know who you think should be the one to rival Seth freaking Rollins during his current World Heavyweight title run.